Welcome to Global Village TV show today. We are airing from JBA Center. We would like to take this opportunity and thank City of Brooks to provide this avenue. We also airing from the city of 100 Hallows today. We have a great person, community-minded person, Lisa Tiffin. She's guest of the program today. Lisa, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me today.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself.
First of all, thanks for having me here. I appreciate the opportunity. I work for the City of Brooks. My role is currently the Manager of Community Development. So I get to do a lot of fun, quality of life-based programming for the City of Brooks. We do some public relations work, tourism development, economic development, communications, and I take on a lot of special projects that would lead towards a higher quality of life for the people that live in the Brooks-Newell region.
Wow. Tell us about your career and what you do in the community. What is?
I first moved to Brooks in 2008, fresh out of university, and it was just for a one-year internship, but I ended up staying. 15 years later, I'm still here. I'm still working for the community and in the community. We do a lot of outreach work, whether it's events for the community, specialized programming, sometimes infrastructure development, like whether it be broadband or park spaces, dog parks, that sort of stuff. So our department is pretty lucky that we get to do a lot of community outreach and a lot of community-based programming.
Okay, what path did you take to achieve this career?
It was a very short and linear path, I have to say. It wasn't, it's not as crazy as some people's, but I started with the City of Brooks as an intern, and I got to work in all of the different departments throughout the municipality, and I loved it so much, I stayed. So it's, I'm betraying my generation, but I've been with one employer my entire career. I've spent 15 years so far with the city.
Wow. What is one thing you love most about your career?
I'd say probably that it changes year to year. I lovingly refer to our department as kind of that junk drawer in your kitchen that has batteries and charging cords and cough drops and that sort of stuff in it. That we are the catch-all for the projects and programming that is kind of a little bit out of the box thinking. And I think that's really exciting. It never gets monotonous.
Well, and the community is very lucky to have you.
Oh, thank you.
What's coming back to the city had a press release. Just following up with that press release, what's a living wage?
So living wage is a new program that we've recently taken part in, where we had a living wage calculated for the City of Brooks. So a living wage, unlike the minimum wage, is the amount of money a person needs to earn to cover your basic expenses and still have a modern or a modest standard of living in the community. So it's the amount of money that you need to earn per hour based on a 35-hour work week in order to really live in a community. And it's community specific. There are a number of different communities across Alberta that calculate a living wage, and Brooks's came in at $19.05 per hour.
Wow. So how is it calculated then?
So it's not as easy as you think. We need people to go around and collect local data specific to our community on things like housing costs, food costs, transportation costs, things like clothing, tuition, childcare, and other things like that. Yeah, gasoline, even the cost of vehicles in the community, how much a person has to drive, that sort of thing, if there's public transit available. And then they take those costs and they're applied to 3 different types of households. So a single person living alone, a single parent with children, and then a dual parent family with 2 children. And then they take an average based on our localized population to figure out what the living wage would be for those 3 different household types. So it's quite a complex calculation that goes into it. And
why is this important?
So it's important because we want to have an idea. Without the data, we don't know essentially where we stand. So we want it as a baseline to understand what the local situation is. We know here in Brooks that we have a pretty low cost of living, but we've never really quite known exactly what the localized situation is. And without knowing, we can't really understand how many people in our community might be living underneath that threshold and therefore living in poverty.
So $19.50, that is the living wage in Brooks then.
Yeah, $19.05.
19.
So higher than minimum wage. Every living wage that was calculated across the province is in fact higher than the province's minimum wage, which says something in and of itself.
Wow. Wow. Why did the city of Brooks decide to participate?
Yeah, like I said, it's good just to know the number. So once you know the number, then you can start basing your programming and your actions around it. We know that Brooks does have a relatively low cost of living. Our housing costs are quite a lot lower than in some of the big cities like Calgary or Edmonton. There's also a number of kind of resort or mountain communities in Alberta that have really, really high cost of living. So we really wanted to make sure that we knew what our local situation was when we weren't combined with the rest of the communities in the province. And then once we know that number, then we can start working on programming and with our local partners on things that we can hopefully help reduce poverty. So if we find that housing, for example, is higher than other communities our size, then maybe we can start looking at some affordable housing projects. Or if transportation is a barrier in our community, then we can start looking at maybe a public transit system, that sort of thing. So without knowing what the number is, then we don't necessarily know where to start working. We become part of a network of other like-minded communities across the province, and we can share ideas and initiatives and work together as a full coalition and a network towards working towards eliminating poverty.
So is the county participating also this?
The County of Newell didn't participate, but we work so closely together in all things that we'll be working with them moving forward.
Okay. So what are the next steps?
So now that we know what our living wage is, we can reach out to local employers and look for local employers to commit to paying their employees that living wage. So if we know that $19.05 is the threshold for where people need to be earning, we can start signing people up to be living wage employers. So there are already over 100 living wage employers across Alberta, so it's quite common. And there's a few that I can think of off the top of my head that are located right here in our community that I think would be excited to get that designation and to prove to their employees and future employees that they care about their employee well-being and about reducing poverty.
So if they sign up, then they will be recognized as a...
Yeah, they would get a certificate that they are officially certified as a living wage employer and that they would be part of that over 100 employers across the province.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's beneficial to the employer because that's also shows the responsibility and also the commitment of the employer.
That's right. So it shows their social responsibility and their social commitment. And in times like we have right now where there's a huge labor shortage, workers want to work for employers that care about their needs and what they need to survive. So they just become that much more of a desirable employer.
Well, thank you very much, Lisa, for stopping by today at the studio, and we highly appreciate it. And as I mentioned, I think the commitment that you have shown the last 15 years, we hope to see you the next 15, 20 years. And
Okay.
we love to wish you all the best and success. And we hope to invite you next time and at least update what the city's programs are for the community.
Yeah, I'd love that. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much. Have a good one. Thanks. Okay. This was the end of the show today, and thank you very much again for joining us, Lisa, and we hope to see you next time. Until then, have a great day and have a great evening, and God bless you. The City of 100 Hollows. This is Ahmed Kasim, your host of the program of today.